There are people who walk through life quietly, almost unnoticed, yet something about their presence feels extraordinary. They are not always the loudest nor the most celebrated, but they carry a depth that cannot be faked. These are rare souls, individuals who seem to see, feel, and understand the world at a level others cannot. And though life often tests them more harshly, the universe also protects them in ways both subtle and profound. Carl Jung once suggested that the psyche is guided not only by conscious will, but by deeper forces, archetypes, and the unconscious that shape destiny. Rare souls are living proof of this. They seem to be tuned to those hidden frequencies, sensitive to truths that others rush past. Their journey is not easy. In fact, many of them are forged through pain, solitude, or betrayal. But from those very experiences emerges a strength, an awareness, and a wisdom that serve a purpose far beyond themselves. What makes such souls rare is not that they live free of suffering, but that they transform suffering into insight. They notice what others overlook. They carry a spiritual compass that points them toward authenticity, even when it costs them comfort. And they embody qualities that the world often misunderstands: sensitivity, silence, empathy, depth. In ordinary eyes, these traits may appear fragile. In truth, they are invisible powers that the universe fiercely guards. We live in a culture that praises the visible, achievements, possessions, status. But the rarest souls do not measure life by these metrics. They are moved instead by meaning, by truth, by the unspoken essence of things. Their gifts are quiet, almost hidden, a deeper awareness of emotions, the strength to endure without breaking, a sensitivity to the unseen energy of life, an ability to turn pain into wisdom, a compassion that extends beyond personal interest, and a connection to higher purpose. These are not qualities you can display on a resume, but they shape destinies, heal others, and alter the course of lives in ways that ripple unseen. And while the world may sometimes exploit or dismiss them, the universe does not. Again and again, life intervenes to protect such souls, not by removing hardship, but by ensuring their essence is not destroyed by it. The betrayals that force them to walk away, the endings that appear cruel, the solitude that feels unbearable, all of these are forms of protection, steering them closer to the truth of who they are meant to be. This journey of rare souls is not about perfection. It is about authenticity. It is about becoming fully oneself, even when misunderstood. Jung called this process individuation, the unfolding of the true self. For rare souls, this path is both blessing and burden. Yet those who walk it emerge as quiet forces of light, carrying wisdom that cannot be taught, only lived. In the following reflections, we will explore the 6 invisible traits that mark these rare souls. They are not skills to be learned, but truths to be recognized. If you find yourself resonating with them, perhaps it is because the universe has been shaping and protecting you. 2. Preparing you for a purpose deeper than you may yet realize. Deep emotional awareness. When people think of awareness, they often imagine the ability to notice what is happening around them, the weather, the tone of a conversation, the shift in someone's voice. But deep emotional awareness moves far beyond noticing. It is the invisible radar of the soul, the capacity to not only sense emotions, but to trace them back to their origin, to decode the story behind every silence, and to hold feelings as sacred symbols. Rare souls live with this kind of awareness, and it is the very thing the universe protects within them. A rare soul with deep emotional awareness can walk into a room and feel what words will never reveal. They sense the grief behind a smile, the envy hidden beneath polite encouragement, or the unspoken tenderness in a single glance. To most people, emotions are like waves crashing at the shore, strong, loud, and temporary. But to these souls, emotions are oceans, with depths that reveal patterns of life, meaning, and transformation. Carl Jung often wrote about the unconscious and its symbolic language. For those with deep emotional awareness, every emotion is not just a passing state. It is a message from the unconscious, a doorway to the hidden self. Anger is not just anger. It is a boundary being crossed. Sadness is not simply loss. It is a call to reconnect with love. Joy is not fleeting pleasure. It is alignment with purpose. These souls read emotions the way mystics read sacred texts. They know that feelings are guides, and that ignoring them is like ignoring the compass of the soul. This trait often develops in silence, through trials that would have crushed ordinary spirits. Many who carry deep emotional awareness had to grow up sensing things others pretended not to feel. Perhaps they were children in chaotic families, learning to read the storm before it arrived. Perhaps they were empaths who absorbed pain so deeply that they had no choice but to learn its language. Their awareness is not learned from books. It is etched into their nervous system through lived experience. Yet this gift is also a burden. Deep emotional awareness means they cannot hide from truth, even when they wish they could. They feel the dishonesty in words, the coldness in false affection, the fear in someone's anger. They may try to silence this awareness to fit into a world that values masks, but the universe refuses to let them. The protection lies in this very refusal. The universe will often remove them from relationships, careers, or environments where their gift is being dimmed. And so, they walk with the paradox of sensitivity, to be open to everything and yet strong enough not to drown in it. This awareness allows them to transform pain into wisdom. Instead of asking, "Why me?" they ask, "What does this mean? What is this teaching me? What pattern is life revealing?" It is this shift that turns suffering into strength and wounds into wisdom. The universe protects rare souls with deep emotional awareness because they are needed as interpreters of the human heart. Their presence reminds others that emotions are not weakness but signals, not random storms but maps of the inner world. And when such a soul speaks, others listen, not because of authority, but because they feel seen in a way words rarely grant. Deep emotional awareness is not loud, not dramatic, not something you display on a stage. It is the quiet strength of noticing, the courage of understanding, and the sacred task of carrying truth even when it is invisible to everyone else. To have this awareness is to walk in constant dialogue with both the heart and the universe. It is to live as a bridge between the visible and the unseen. And though it may feel heavy, the universe surrounds such souls with unseen protection, for their gift is not just personal, it is collective. A light for many. Quiet inner strength. Strength is often mistaken for noise. Society tends to equate it with bold gestures, dominating voices, or the ability to control and command. But rare souls teach us that the deepest form of strength is not loud at all. It is quiet. It does not need to prove itself, nor does it ask for recognition. Quiet inner strength is the steady flame that burns beneath the surface, unshaken by storms, unnoticed by many, but powerful enough to light entire paths in the dark. Those who carry this strength rarely announce it. You will not find them insisting on being right in every argument or showing off resilience as though it were a badge. Instead, they move through life with an unshakable core. Even when life strips them of possessions, relationships, or certainty, they remain rooted. They bend, but they do not break. They may weep in silence, but their spirit holds steady. Carl Jung described individuation as the process of becoming whole, integrating the shadow, the unconscious, and the conscious self. Quiet inner strength is born from that process. It emerges when a soul faces their shadows, sits with discomfort, and does not run from pain. Instead of collapsing under trials, they absorb them, learn from them, and allow those lessons to build an invisible foundation. This strength is not learned overnight. It often arises from experiences that felt unbearable at the time. Betrayals, losses, disappointments. Life tested these rare souls again and again, and rather than hardening into bitterness, they developed resilience that no one can see but everyone can feel. Their strength is not in pretending they are unaffected, but in allowing wounds to heal into wisdom without losing their softness. To others, they may appear fragile, perhaps quiet, sensitive, or introverted. Yet when real chaos arrives, it is often these very souls who hold others together. They know how to remain calm in the storm, not because they deny the storm, but because they have already survived tempests within. Their stillness is contagious. When everyone else is panicking, they radiate a sense of stability, reminding others that peace is possible even in crisis. Quiet inner strength also shows itself in restraint. In a culture that rewards impulsive reactions and loud opinions, these souls choose silence when silence holds more wisdom than words. They choose patience when rushing would destroy clarity. They know that true power does not always need to act immediately. Sometimes the greatest strength lies in waiting, observing, and responding with precision rather than force. And yet this quiet strength is not weakness. It is not submission. In fact, it is often more intimidating than overt displays of power. Those who try to control rare souls are unsettled by this unshakable calm. Manipulation loses its grip when faced with someone who refuses to react as expected. Anger softens in the presence of someone who cannot be provoked into chaos. In this way, quiet inner strength becomes a shield, protecting the rare soul without the need for confrontation. The universe protects those with this strength because they are anchors in a restless world. Their presence reminds others that life is not about noise, but about depth. Their steadiness becomes guidance for those who feel lost. Without needing to preach, they embody resilience in its purest form. To carry quiet inner strength is to be both soft and unbreakable, compassionate yet firm, open yet grounded. It is to walk with dignity even when life tries to strip it away. And though others may underestimate them, the universe does not. The universe knows that this kind of strength is rare, sacred, and necessary for the healing of the collective. So when you see a soul who does not shout, who does not demand recognition, yet who never falters even in the darkest nights, know that you are in the presence of quiet inner strength. It is invisible to the untrained eye, but it is one of the greatest powers a soul can carry. Spiritual sensitivity to energy. There are souls who perceive life not only through sight, sound, or touch, but through an invisible current running beneath all things, energy. This is not the abstract concept often spoken of in passing. For rare souls, spiritual sensitivity to energy is a lived reality. It is the way they know when a conversation hides dishonesty, when a smile conceals sorrow, or when a room carries the residue of conflict long after words have faded. For most people, life feels solid, material, straightforward. But for sensitive souls, it is layered. Beneath appearances is vibration, moods, intentions, unspoken truths. Their gift is not about mystical fantasy, but about heightened attunement. They notice the subtle shifts others overlook, the heaviness in the air when someone carries resentment, the sudden lightness when truth is spoken, the calm presence of a person aligned with peace. Carl Jung's psychology often pointed toward the unseen. Archetypes, the collective unconscious, and the symbols shaping human life. To souls spiritually sensitive to energy, these ideas are not theory, they are daily experience. Jung believed the psyche communicates through images, symbols, and impressions that move us on levels deeper than logic. Energy sensitivity operates in a similar way. A rare soul may not know why they feel uneasy around someone, but the energy itself communicates a message their mind later understands. This sensitivity is not always easy to carry. It can feel like standing in a room with every radio station playing at once, absorbing too much, feeling emotions that are not theirs, sensing unrest they cannot explain. Many such souls retreat from crowds not because they dislike people, but because the energetic noise overwhelms them. Silence and solitude are their refuge, where they can separate their own truth from the energies they absorb. Yet this very sensitivity is also their compass. They may avoid a business deal because something feels wrong, only to discover later it would have brought ruin. They may sense authenticity in someone overlooked, and that bond becomes life-changing. They trust energy before words, intuition before evidence, and often life proves them right. Spiritual sensitivity also connects these souls to nature. They feel the energy of trees, rivers, or the quiet vastness of mountains. Such places recharge them because the energies of the natural world are pure, uncorrupted by human pretenses. This is why sensitive souls often describe feeling more alive under the night sky or near the ocean than at crowded gatherings. Their nervous system resonates with harmony, and the universe draws them back to it again and again. But perhaps the greatest purpose of this trait is that it allows rare souls to be healers, not always in professional roles, but simply by existing. Their presence shifts the energy of a room. Their compassion soothes pain without words. They carry the unseen ability to hold space for others, to make people feel safe, understood, and lighter than before. The universe protects those with spiritual sensitivity because their gift is fragile, yet vital. If exposed to too much harshness, they may withdraw permanently, hiding their light. And so, life often steers them away from destructive environments, even if through painful separations. What looks like loss is often protection, guiding them towards spaces where their sensitivity can be honored rather than exploited. To be spiritually sensitive to energy is to live in dialogue with the unseen. It is to understand that what is invisible shapes what is visible. It is to walk through life not as a detached observer, but as someone who feels the heartbeat of existence itself. And though it is a heavy gift, it is also a sacred one. For these souls are reminders that life is not just matter and logic, but vibration, resonance, and spirit. Ability to transform pain into wisdom. Pain is the one experience every soul encounters. Yet the ways we respond to it define our lives. Some people run from it, numbing themselves with distractions. Others deny it, pretending it never happened. But rare souls hold a unique gift, the ability to take pain, even devastating pain, and transform it into wisdom that guides not only themselves but those around them. This is not about romanticizing suffering, but about turning wounds into teachers and scars into maps. For these souls, pain is never wasted. They understand instinctively what Carl Jung once emphasized: there is no coming to consciousness without pain. Pain, in their view, is not punishment, but a portal. It strips away illusions, exposes hidden truths, and forces the soul into a deeper dialogue with itself. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" they eventually ask, "What does this mean? What can it teach me? How can I grow through it?" This transformation does not happen overnight. At first, pain may feel unbearable, like a weight pressing down on the chest or a silence that refuses to break. But rare souls stay with it long enough to see beyond the surface. They let grief reveal love, betrayal reveal boundaries, and failure reveal resilience. Every wound becomes a mirror, showing them parts of themselves they may never have discovered otherwise. Consider a sensitive soul who faced abandonment. Rather than letting bitterness consume them, they learn the deeper truth: that self-worth cannot depend on those who leave. They carry this wisdom forward, offering compassion to others who feel unwanted. Or consider a soul betrayed by someone they trusted. Instead of shutting down, they learn to trust more wisely, distinguishing between genuine hearts and empty words. The very experiences that threaten to break them become the roots of their deepest strength. Carl Jung often spoke of the wounded healer, the archetype of those who heal others because they themselves have known pain. Rare souls embody this. They may not call themselves healers, but their presence alone carries quiet medicine. When they share their stories, people listen, not because of eloquence, but because the wisdom in their words has been earned through suffering. Pain has refined their voice into truth. This ability also reshapes how they view others. Having known darkness, they do not judge quickly. They see that anger often hides fear, that cruelty often grows from unhealed wounds. Instead of condemnation, they offer perspective. Instead of repeating cycles of harm, they choose to break them. Their wisdom is not only personal, but collective, a way of reducing suffering in the world by refusing to pass it on. Yet, the universe protects them as they walk this path. For to transform pain into wisdom requires endurance, and endurance can be dangerous without balance. Life often sends such souls moments of grace, unexpected friendships, meaningful signs, sudden clarity, to remind them they are not alone. What feels like coincidence is often protection, guiding them toward healing spaces where their wisdom can grow without crushing them. In the end, this ability is one of the most sacred gifts a soul can carry. It means they do not see pain as an ending but as a teacher. They know that every scar holds a story, every loss hides a lesson, and every heartbreak can birth strength. They embody the truth that wisdom does not come from avoiding suffering, but from facing it with courage. And through this transformation, they become living proof that pain can be alchemized into something enduring, light, clarity, and the kind of wisdom that never fades. Compassion beyond personal interest. Most people show compassion when it benefits them. Kindness that wins approval. Generosity that earns recognition, or empathy extended only to those who can give something in return. But rare souls carry a different kind of compassion, one that extends beyond personal interest. It is compassion born not of transaction, but of essence. They care not because they must, but because they cannot help it. This compassion reaches beyond convenience. A rare soul notices the lonely stranger on the bus, the overwhelmed mother in the grocery store, the quiet colleague hiding stress behind a smile. They respond not because they expect gratitude, but because something inside of them aches when others are in pain. Their empathy is not a performance. It is an instinct. Carl Jung often spoke of the collective unconscious, the shared reservoir of human experience that binds us all. Souls who embody compassion beyond personal interest live with an awareness of this connection. They do not see themselves as separate islands. When one person suffers, they feel that suffering ripple through their own spirit. Helping another is, in truth, helping the larger whole to which they also belong. This compassion is not limited to grand gestures. Sometimes it is the quiet check-in, the unspoken understanding, or the refusal to judge. Rare souls often carry an ability to sit with someone in their darkest hour without rushing to fix, dismiss, or flee. They hold space for grief, confusion, and silence, honoring emotions others might find unbearable. In their presence, people feel seen, not analyzed, but such compassion is not always easy. It can feel draining to care so deeply in a world that often rewards indifference. Sensitive souls may be taken advantage of, their kindness mistaken for weakness. They may give until exhausted, forgetting their own needs. Yet even here the universe protects them, teaching balance through experience. Slowly they learn that true compassion includes themselves as well, that pouring from an empty cup helps no one. What makes their compassion rare is its purity. They can show kindness even to those who have hurt them, not by excusing harm, but by understanding the brokenness behind it. They can empathize with people society condemns, recognizing the human underneath the mask of mistakes. Their compassion does not erase accountability, but it transforms judgment into perspective. This gift also extends beyond people. They feel tenderness for animals, nature, even the fragile beauty of life itself. A dying tree, a stray dog, or a wounded bird may move them to tears, not because they are overly sentimental, but because they sense the sacredness of all living things. Their compassion expands outward, encompassing the planet, the collective, and generations to come. Carl Jung observed that love, not romantic attachment, but deep archetypal love, is one of the most transformative forces in the human psyche. Rare souls embody this. Their compassion becomes a quiet revolution, challenging a culture that often prioritizes self-interest. They live as reminders that true strength is measured not in how much we can dominate, but in how much we can care. The universe values these souls because their presence heals the fractures of humanity. When they act with selfless compassion, they restore balance where cruelty has created division. Even small acts, a word, a smile, a gesture, ripple into unseen places, shifting energy and planting seeds of hope. They may never know the full impact of their kindness, but the universe does. To carry compassion beyond personal interest is to live as a vessel of something greater than oneself. It is to care even when it costs, to love even when it's not returned, and to give even when no one is watching. And though it may make them vulnerable, it also makes them luminous. Their compassion is not weakness. It is the rarest strength of all, the kind the world most desperately needs. Connection with higher purpose for many people. Life feels like a series of tasks. Wake up, work, pay bills, repeat. Meaning is often sought in achievement, possessions, or fleeting recognition. But rare souls live differently. They carry an unshakable connection with something larger than themselves, a higher purpose. It is not about ambition, nor is it about perfection. It is the inner knowing that their existence serves a story beyond personal gain. This connection is rarely loud or dramatic. It often begins as a whisper, a quiet intuition that life is not random, that their pain, joys, and choices are threads in a tapestry too vast for the eyes to see. Rare souls listen to that whisper, and the more they honor it, the clearer it becomes. Their lives gradually align not with what others expect, but with what their soul insists. Carl Jung spoke of the self, the deepest center of the psyche, a guiding force that pulls us toward wholeness. To be connected with higher purpose is to live in dialogue with this self. While the ego may crave comfort or approval, the self calls for authenticity, growth, and service. Rare souls learn to distinguish between the two. They recognize when choices are made out of fear and when they flow from the deeper voice that says, "This is why you are here." This sense of purpose is not always tied to grand careers or public platforms. A soul may fulfill their higher calling through art, caregiving, teaching, or simply the way they love. What matters is not the scale, but the alignment. They know that when they act from truth, even small gestures ripple outward. A kind word, a courageous decision, or a refusal to betray their values becomes part of a larger design. Yet walking in higher purpose often means walking a lonely road. They may be misunderstood, pressured to conform, or criticized for not following traditional paths. Others may question why they choose integrity over profit, or solitude over popularity. But the universe protects them by removing what does not serve their purpose. Jobs collapse, relationships fade, opportunities vanish. And though it hurts, these endings push them closer to their true path. What feels like loss is often guidance. Living with higher purpose also grants resilience. When rare souls face hardships, they do not see them as meaningless suffering. They frame them as lessons, initiations, or necessary steps in fulfilling what they came here to do. This perspective transforms despair into endurance. They may cry, they may stumble, but they do not quit. Deep inside, they know their life is not an accident. Connection with higher purpose also expands compassion. When you see yourself as part of a larger story, you see others differently. You realize every person is a soul in process, wrestling with their own lessons. This makes it harder to judge harshly, easier to forgive, and natural to extend grace. Rare souls understand that the same higher force guiding them is guiding everyone, even when it looks messy. The universe values this connection because it keeps humanity aligned with truth. Without such souls, society would drown in noise, greed, and forgetfulness. Those connected with higher purpose remind us that life is not just about survival, but about evolution, of spirit, of consciousness, of love. To live with higher purpose is to walk as a bridge between the visible and the eternal. It is to say yes to the quiet call within, even when the world demands otherwise. It is to know that your life matters not because of how loudly it is seen, but because of how faithfully it follows the thread the universe placed in your hands. And when rare souls embody this, they live not only for themselves, but for the healing of generations to come.